Hello all, I'm Wadabra. Welcome back to Adastra. In the previous episode, Marco became a pseudo-celebrity after the part he played in removing Kato from the throne during the televised trial by combat with Kato. Amicus officially became emperor and finds most of his time is now consumed by his political duties. He does, however, make time to fill Marco in on the deal he made with the parents, while the parents were using Marco's body as a meat puppet. It turns out that Amicus, in addition to submitting himself to their will for the rest of his life, has been charged with bringing the Galaxius together, beginning with the Chemians, while Marco has been given the option of returning to Earth for 8 years in order to begin the process of integrating humanity into the Galaxius. He's told he can choose to not accept his half of the mission, and either stay on Adastra where he and Amicus can be together, or return to Earth where Amicus would not be allowed to see Marco again. Needless to say, neither one of them are happy about this, and Marco spends a good chunk of time stewing over what he's going to do now. The episode ends with Amicus asking Marco to take the lifespan-extending medication that everyone else in the Galaxius already takes. And even though Marco still isn't really into the idea of living that long under the parents' boot, he decides to start taking them for Amicus, so he can be around for the wolf as long as possible. That's the recap. Now go hit that like button. It's free and does actually help the channel. And while you're down there, hit that subscribe button too. There's really no need not to. Plus, it'll greatly increase the chances of you not missing the next episode. Win-win. And as always, content warnings, chapter times, and a link to my Patreon can be found in the description below. Let's get started. Life in the palace becomes routine again. I have my own little schedule that involves gardening and watching certain programs on Adastran TV that I've actually grown to tolerate. I've also started to study, using Com as my teacher to learn as much as I can about Adastran and Galaxius history. I even have time enough to start learning the language. Apparently, they never bothered to name their own language, which is a very Wolven thing to do. But as I'd noticed when I'd first arrived, it's nearly identical to Latin back on Earth. This makes it fairly easy to pick up, considering I studied some Latin back in school and learned a good deal of Italian before my trip. Amicus thinks it's a bit odd I want to learn, considering I have the lingua. And while I've become used to life in what's basically a dubbed film, I can't help but feel like it's a filter of some kind. I'd like to get past that, hear Amicus and the others as they are. And since I'm going to spend most of my life here, I've already started taking the supplements to extend my lifespan, which means I could be alive for a lot longer than I'd ever imagined. Though Felix says that, at most, I might get about 100 extra years out of the treatment, rather than the 200 years or so that the wolves get, because I started taking them when I was already an adult. Still, it's a lot, and while I'm sure most people on Earth would be desperate for this supplement, I strangely feel a bit exhausted by the idea. Living 150 to 200 years really changes one's perspective on time. Maybe that's one of the factors that makes it seem as if the days are going by so fast. Unfortunately, I'm not spending very much of my time with Amicus. It's something I had expected, anticipated even. But I can't help but feel a little depressed that I only see him for a second in the morning when he kisses me goodbye, then late at night to have dinner with me after he's already exhausted by his imperial duties. Speaking of which, it's not just Amicus. While his absence would be bearable if I had at least someone to talk to that isn't calm, everyone else seems to have become just as busy. Neferu, my only real friend on this moon, aside from Amicus, is usually off doing diplomatic stuff in the city, his mission to secure an alliance now fully in motion. Virginia is always by Amicus's side, especially now that the populace has grown used to the idea of a woman in a chief advisor role. And while I never really connected with her, it would still be nice to have some kind of company. I mean, even Cassius would be a welcome distraction, but the White Wolf left a few months back to tour the more impoverished regions of Adastra so that resources might be better allocated. It also turns out that he left with my former best Adastra friend, Alexios. Cassius left us all somewhat stunned when he did this, doing important social work while a known spy and saboteur, one that could be blamed for a lot of damage to Adastran society, is by his side. Amicus was adamant on deporting Alexios on the first ship back to Amorpha, but Cassius talked with him, and I guess he'd been convincing. Amicus simply sent a few extra guards to keep a close eye on him. When I'd asked about this, Amicus only told me that the cat is powerless now, unable to connect with his homeworld due to all communications with Amorpha having been blocked after the scandal. One that involved many more actors than just Alex. It doesn't sit right with me, though. The idea that Alex caused so much pain for so many people, yet he's facing no consequences. Sure, I'd made that deal with him to free Amicus, but he really shouldn't still be here. I already know, though, that it has more to do with Cassius's relationship with the cat, and I don't doubt that the White Wolf had compared their situation to ours so that he could better convince Amicus. So now even Alex has something to do, a role to fill, and I'm the one that's left feeling useless and alone in the palace. The only job I have right now, over the course of the entire 9 months, is to decide whether or not I'm going to play the role the parents want me to. And while that's good and all, as it's a decision that will affect the rest of my life, I also sort of expected to be given more information over the course of my waiting period. But no, the monitor hasn't once broken in through my consciousness to give me tips on what to expect. Infinite space remains quiet. So I'm left pulling the endless weeds in the gardens, waiting, wondering, as unsure of my future as I've ever been.
Marco.
I crack open my eyes, seeing the large silhouette of Amicus in the dimmed lighting of the bedroom.
Good morning.
I smile and reach out my hands, expecting the usual hug and kiss before he's off for the day. Instead, though, he sits on the bed next to me, gently running a paw through my hair, pushing it back away from my forehead.
Your fur is a mess.
I mean, I did just wake up.
It's cute.
Amicus continues to brush his fingers and claws through my hair. I watch him for a moment, a bit confused. You all right?
Very much so.
I look over at the curtains, seeing the soft light of dawn creeping around the edges. Don't you have to go to the city?
Nope.
Okay. Do you have the day off? You're acting a little odd.
Ah, so you don't know.
Know what? An irrational part of me begins to wonder if the 9 months is already up, even though the last time I'd calculated it out, I still had 4 months left.
I am honestly glad you don't. I was hoping to surprise you.
I close my eyes in only the slightest amount of frustration. Amicus, please just tell me. You know I don't like... I hear rustling from the wolf in front of me, and I open my eyes to the sight of a bouquet of flowers being held out to me. Like last time, it's dominated by lavender, and its smell surrounds me, a smell that my brain is exclusively tied to my wolf. I stare at it in surprise, unsure of what to think or say.
Happy Lover's Day, Marco!
The wolf continues to hold out the bouquet insistently, so I finally reach up and take it, noticing that it looks much nicer this time versus Amicus's first bouquet. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I sit there, holding the bouquet awkwardly for a few seconds, noticing the stems dripping on the blanket, so I hold them out over the edge of the bed. So is this, some kind of Adastran holiday?
Indeed, to celebrate those who you love and cherish. And for me, that is you, Marco. I love you.
Though I'm still feeling a bit dazed at the unexpectedness of it all, I manage to smile. You too, Amicus. I kind of wish I'd known. I didn't get you anything. Amicus waves his paw dismissively in the air.
The flowers are simply a human touch that I knew you'd appreciate. Besides, this isn't a gift-giving occasion. It's a go-out-and-enjoy-yourself occasion.
Amicus stands suddenly, reaching out his paw to me.
Come, I have the entire day planned out. Just you and I. No triumvirs, diplomats, or advisors to bother us.
I take his paw, smiling as I realize how this has seemingly come just in time for me. I've been feeling so lonely and bored in the palace. This is exactly what I need. I hold the flowers to my chest, smelling them, not caring anymore that they're all wet. What do you have planned?
Ah, that's also a surprise. I'd like to leave in the next few minutes, though, so get dressed and don't worry about showering.
All right. I move toward the dresser and grab my robes, but as I'm doing so, there's a loud knock at the door. Amicus's cheery mood drops for a moment, and he lets out a frustrated sigh.
Come, who's at my door?
Neferu is at your bedroom door, Amicus.
Amicus closes his eyes for a second, then opens them again, smiling at me.
One moment. Probably just wants to wish us a good Lover's Day. Or something.
Amicus strides over to the door while I quickly pull out a clean robe, pulling it over my body as the door opens.
Neferu, did you need something?
Hello, Amicus. And a hotep be with you, Marco.
Neferu pokes his head around Amicus's bulk, which the wolf is clearly trying to use to shield me from view, even though I'm already in the process of tying my robe on. A hotep be with you. I mumble back, nodding in the jackal's direction.
What was it you needed?
Well, you are needed by the council. The Chemian ambassador and vizier arrived an hour ago, and they requested we begin our meeting at once.
What? No!
Amicus lets out a groan of frustration, leaning his head back and tilting his muzzle toward the ceiling.
Didn't Com notify you? I've been waiting in the carriage for 15 minutes. Virginia's already there.
Neferu leans sideways slightly to look at me again.
Am I interrupting something?
It's Lover's Day. I cleared my schedule weeks in advance for this.
Oh, it is? Well, I suppose I would have no reason to know, eh?
Neferu winks.
Anyway, you know how poorly schedules match up when the stretch drive is used. Simply bad luck.
Bad luck indeed.
Amicus turns then, gaze softening as he spots me standing in my disheveled, half-tied-on robe. I shrug in what I hope looks like a nonchalant manner. It's all right, I understand. We can do something some other time.
Marco.
I suppose I'm not doing a very good job of not looking just a little upset.
I mean, I'm happy with just this.
I pick up the bouquet of flowers I'd set on the dresser, inhaling the scent again.
The fact that you did all of this in the first place means a lot to me.
Amicus goes on frowning at me, clearly not buying it. Then he snarls.
Fuck!
Poor language for an emperor, Amicus.
Amicus ignores the jackal, keeping his eyes on me.
This is the only meeting I'll have all day. It shouldn't last too long, and then we'll still be able to do most of what I planned.
I wouldn't plan on that. This is very important.
I know, Neferu, but it won't last all day. Anyway, Marco, come with me. That way, as soon as the meeting is finished, we can immediately go to our private dinner.
You're bringing Marco? Didn't you say that we should be keeping his profile low?
It's Lover's Day. No one will be at the university.
I raise my hands.
I don't want to cause any problems. I can just wait for you here.
You are causing no problems. You will be accompanying me to the city. As my lover, you should be at my side during Lover's Day. If you so choose.
At this point, anything sounds better than staying in the palace, so the decision is pretty easy to make.
All right, yeah, let's go.
Amicus looks somewhat relieved, letting out a breath before reaching out to take my hand, walking us out into the hallway while Neferu follows behind.
I promise I will be quick. And I'm sorry. Sometimes it's just hard to...
I understand. You're the Emperor. Besides, it's not fair for me to be upset because my boyfriend is spending more time on his Emperor duties than me.
I would understand if you were.
I just hope it won't be like this forever.
It won't be. We're simply at a turning point in Adastran history. When you return, and when everything settles, we will have much more time to ourselves.
My stomach lurches slightly at being reminded that I have my own job to do, one that I'm not looking forward to. I glance back at Neferu, wondering if he should be hearing any of this, but the jackal seems to not be paying attention to anything, his expression distant as his lips move silently. It looks like he's reciting something. I look forward again, leaning against Amicus as we head outside toward the carriage. I already start feeling a lot better as our mechanical carriage creaks through the forest, the peaceful, eerie green calming any irritation I might have felt with the whole situation. Amicus has me pulled against his right side, fitting me in that familiar way as I rest my head against his shoulder. To Amicus's left, Neferu sits with his legs crossed, an elbow on his knee, and his chin in his paw. I notice Neferu and Amicus not attempting to make conversation with each other, not even glancing at one another. I think it's pretty clear at this point that Amicus and Neferu just don't really mesh well. Their personalities, too different. Which I guess is fine, as long as they're not fighting anymore. Neferu seems to have stopped his silent chanting, so I take the opportunity to ask him a question, leaning forward to look around Amicus's front. So what's going on with this Chemian ambassador and, the other thing you mentioned? If you can tell me, that is. The jackal glances at me before shifting into a position that more directly faces me.
The vizier? He's the highest official serving under the pharaoh. As for the ambassador, Adastra hasn't had a Chemian ambassador since the war.
Amicus grunts.
I'll point out that Chemia was the first to expel the ambassador.
And we are the first to re-establish one.
As it should go.
So are they going to help establish an alliance?
Yes, along with smoothing over Adastra relations in general. The ambassador will be here for the long term. The vizier.
Amicus glances at Neferu, but the jackal simply leans back, looking out at the forest again. The vizier will depart back to Chemia within a week, which is why negotiations must begin at once. And you said this is taking place at a university?
Yes, there are a few Chemian experts there. And I suppose Chemians find places of learning more comfortable to negotiate in.
Amicus glances at Neferu for confirmation. I believe it has more to do with Adastran Academia being a more friendly entity compared to the political departments. Or palace. Amicus smirks.
Indeed. The last bastion of chemophiles.
Neferu rolls his eyes before they settle on me again. Oh, and remember our conversation about the other? This university is famous for supposedly being absolutely infested. I raise an eyebrow. So it's haunted?
Are you serious? Have you been filling his head with the ghost stories of students, Neferu?
I have. Don't worry, I don't really believe it. I lean back against Amicus, deciding that we can't really have a conversation without the two canines butting heads. The university is in a secluded area outside of the city, mostly surrounded by forest. The garden and paths are well taken care of, and it reminds me of a more classical-looking version of the palace. Also, Amicus was right. I don't see a single person on the campus. Our carriage rides up the main path to the largest-looking building that's front and center. We park in front of the building, next to a few small aircraft, before getting out and heading inside. For a moment, I'm in awe at the size and architecture surrounding me, especially the amount of sculptures spread throughout the halls.
Go ahead and make yourself comfortable. There should be screens in most of the rooms, and down those stairs you can find games of amusement.
Amicus?
Amicus jerks his head away from me, looking up as Virginia's familiar voice, in a very familiar tone, echoes around the marble hallways.
Gods.
Amicus mumbles under his breath as Virginia, her face a mask of fury, approaches. She spares me a glance for a single second before focusing back on Amicus.
You are an hour late.
Am I?
Yes! I've tolerated your tardiness since you were a child. But you've kept the visor waiting. How could you?
I've never seen Virginia so angry before.
Well, it's a holiday, so I disabled notifications.
Are you joking? Emperors do not get holidays. Ever.
Well, consider it strategic.
What?
I am simply letting him know who holds the power here. It will be an advantageous start to our negotiations.
Virginia looks at her brother with borderline disgust.
Well, at least you can make even the most extreme stupidity sound not quite so stupid. I hope you're not planning on bringing your maid in.
For a moment, I don't realize that she's referring to me.
Of course not. He's waiting out here.
Virginia looks at me again.
My apologies. I hope my brother learns to treat you with more respect in the future. If not, then I'm sure you'll have no trouble finding someone better.
What? If you're so worried about wasting time, why are we doing just that?
Teacher Viteris is entertaining them on a tour. You'd better think of a good excuse before they return. Actually, just pretend it didn't happen.
Oh? That sounds like something you wouldn't want me to do.
Chemians are different. I suggest you not try to trick them. Let's go in for now. I think I hear them.
Sure enough, I hear echoing voices up the hallways. Amicus turns to me, giving me a quick hug, again reassuring me that he won't be long, before following Virginia up the hall and disappearing behind a sliding door. Neferu, who I had completely forgotten about, walks past me, heading for the room as well. I frown, noticing the dull look on his face, the one he'd been wearing since the carriage ride. "You all right?" I ask him just as he passes me. He glances toward me. "Of course." He doesn't even make an effort to make it look like that's the case, before walking through the door as well. Not really wanting to be seen, I move back toward the sculptures, hiding myself amongst them. Technically, all of Adastra City knows who I am, my face having been shown on the giant screens in the city, on loop, for months. Still, I'm odd enough that I feel like it would just cause more trouble than it would be worth if I'm seen. So I peer around the statue wolf's waist, feeling like a stalker as I watch the small crowd approaching the door that Amicus, Virginia, and Neferu walked through. A very short old wolf leads the way, followed by the second and only other jackal I've ever seen in person. He's taller and thinner than Neferu, and there's an icy cold expression on his face. I imagine him to be the vizier, and next to him walks a rather broad-shouldered creature that vaguely looks like a wolverine. His clothing and the paint on his fur is definitely Chemian, so I assume him to be the ambassador. Finally, a younger wolf brings up the rear, one that has longer fur on his neck, which he has styled into a braid. I'd actually heard about wolves with manes at some point in my studies. It's a trait that had been cultivated amongst Adastra's more influential families, a status symbol of the elite. The braided wolf starts to look in my direction, and that's when I quickly pull back, hiding myself behind the marble and waiting until I hear the door slide shut again. Then I'm left alone, standing amongst the quiet, spotless marble of the expansive university. At first, I sit on a bench, quietly taking in the architecture, thinking about how cool it would be if I could come here to study instead of being stuck in the palace. This is the most prestigious university in Adastra, after all. I saw the giant name carved into the face of the building on the way in. Vero's University. Or just Vero. Only the smartest young wolves study here, along with wolves from the richest families in Adastra. On top of that, from the handful of times that it came up in Calm's ramblings, it sounds like it's one of the most progressive places on the moon. It was one of the first elite universities to allow women to study inside the school, rather than having to sit in a separate, cheaper building on the outskirts of campus. That was just 50 years ago, finally allowed under the rule of Amicus's father. Eventually, I grow bored with just sitting there and start to walk around, looking at the sculptures and plaques. They give short descriptions of the various wolves the sculptures depict, and I try to piece together what I can with my limited written language knowledge. Notable is the one in the middle, Vero, the university's namesake. He apparently studied the education system on Amorpha before implementing that system on Adastra. That alone shows how different this university is from the rest of the moon. The wolves, especially the politicians, would never admit to borrowing anything from the cats, even though they've borrowed plenty. But even here, there are only sculptures of wolves. No siblings, no children, nothing. It reminds me of one of the biggest issues I've been wrestling with over the past few months. How separate I feel from this society. It's to be expected. I am on an alien world after all. But it's a world of many different creatures and cultures. Yet the wolves seem to be doing their best to ignore that. I realize that I will never be part of this society, even if humans are successfully integrated into the Galaxius. In fact, I already know what the wolven reaction to human society will be. Suspicion, condescension, and overall jealousy at the idea of a race that seemingly uplifted itself. A species assigned a role that's different than all the rest. It doesn't matter that I'm liked by them now. It's only because I'm a seemingly dumb, parentless ape. They will come to despise me, just as they despise the Chemians. As my thought process spirals, I even think for a moment that maybe Alex had the right idea. But no, thoughts like that always bring me back down. It reminds me that humans, wolves, and all the rest of the Galaxius aren't so different in the end. Which means I have to hope that the parents are different, because I don't think I can trust gods that act like I do. After a while, it becomes clear that this isn't going to be a quick meeting. The hours go by slowly, and while I would usually be pretty ticked off at Amicus at this point, I'm mostly just sad. Being alone amongst towering marble pillars isn't so different from the palace. And yet, it's still a nice change of pace. Eventually, I find a bunch of folded red cloth piled on a table, looking like banners for what could be the school flag or colors or something. I grab a couple of these before scouting out a marble bench hidden in the corner of the main room, behind the statues and out of sight of the door. I lie down on the bench, flat on my back, laying the cloth under my head. I'm tired after being woken up so much earlier than I'm used to, and it's not long before I'm drifting off to sleep. Space stretches and twists into the distance. The infinite dark blue broken here and there with planets, stars, and dust clouds. It's endless, monolithic, passionless. Except there. Its mark is clear on the universe, like a stain, a blemish on the glittering patchwork of stars. The planets die, the stars shrivel, the dust scatters. It's all tainted. The mark is old. It's ancient. It existed before life. Our life. It touches every life form, from the youngest child to the oldest sibling. It convulses before your eyes in the dark. It whispers in your ear while you sleep. It brushes your neck when you don't see. We all feel it. We all know it. It transcends all. It touches all. It becomes all. I see you. The black tendrils of its reach already infect everything around you. They're going to kill you. They're going to kill him. Your purpose is doomed. And yet, you know that this is only the beginning. That soon it will blanket everything. You will die. He will die. Trapped in the amalgamation forever. Apart. And that's when it won't hide in the dark anymore. I gasp loudly, sitting up on the bench, feeling like something has been sitting on my chest. I feel like I've been holding my breath, or something had pushed it out. Die. There's a faint whisper to my left, and when I look, for just the briefest of moments, it seems as if the crouched wolf statue is contorted. Its neck is broken, staring straight back at me. I jump, leaning back as I stare at the grotesquely twisted wolf. But it's not twisted. It's like it always was. And then I'm falling off the bench, landing hard on my ass and sending a jolt of pain through my tailbone. I can't help the involuntary yelp that comes out of my mouth.
Marco?
Amicus's voice echoes through the halls, making me scramble to my feet, suddenly embarrassed about what had just happened. I'm over here. I move out from behind the statues, glancing one last time at the crouched wolf, neck in its proper position.
It whispers in your ear while you sleep.
When my back is to it, the nape of my neck prickles, and I hurry out from my hiding spot. As I move out into the brightly lit main room, I realize that it's already dark. I've been here all day.
Where?
Amicus's voice seems to come from further away up the hall. Here! I just want him to come get me. I had a nightmare, or something, but it had felt so cold, dark, and real. I hear some footsteps padding up the hall, and I turn to see Amicus come around the corner, his paws clasped together.
Marco, I am so sorry. They wouldn't agree on anything, and I couldn't excuse myself to come see you because that would make it look as if I
cut Amicus off by hugging him, just wanting to feel his presence for now. The depressing thoughts I'd had all day, on top of that awful nightmare, at least what I hope was a nightmare, has left me feeling like complete shit.
Are you all right?
I'm quiet for a moment, wondering if I should tell Amicus anything about what I was thinking, what I saw, then decide against it, at least for now. I'm just happy to see you.
Really? Even after suffering through my complete incompetence all day long?
I'm about to scold Amicus for saying that about himself, but then I just end up nodding. Yeah, we all have days like that. Did everyone leave?
Yes, the meeting concluded about 10 minutes ago. I had worried you'd left the university for whatever reason.
Sorry.
Don't be. Were you sleeping?
Yeah.
Well, that's good, because I'm hoping, even after how poorly the day went, that you might join me for a late-night Lover's Day celebration.
He never gives up, and I do love that about him. I smile. That sounds great, Amicus. We walk down the steps from the main building into an empty courtyard, all of the vehicles gone. I frown. They just left us without any transportation?
Oh, yes, I told them to go on ahead.
Oh, why?
Do you not wish to walk?
Isn't it a little far to walk? I follow Amicus down the steps and through the university's gardens before we're back in the forest, walking in the direction that's away from the palace.
Not really. The city and palace are within reasonable walking distance.
Huh. Guess I just assumed it was far since we're always using the carriage.
We tend to be lazy. That, and it's expected by the citizens, as it's seen as more dignified, I suppose.
What about security? Shouldn't you have some protection as emperor? I look around, feeling almost vulnerable out here in the open with Amicus, used to always having the protection of the palace walls around us. Amicus glances up, and I follow his gaze, immediately spotting the blinking lights of drones above us.
Drones are far better than any sapient when it comes to security.
Amicus looks over at me.
I suppose you haven't been outside the palace very often at all, have you?
Not really. The wolf grimaces.
I apologize for that. I know it seems like you should be more free to travel after what happened, but the people are very curious about you. It would be difficult to keep them from crowding.
I raise an eyebrow as I see lights in the distance, twinkling through the tree branches. But we're heading to the city right now, aren't we? I don't think I can deal with crowds. At least not now when I'm not really prepared for it.
Well, I cleared the district for our arrival, though that was supposed to be, I'd say 5 hours ago. But still, it's late enough that the streets should be mostly empty.
Oh. I draw closer to Amicus. Where are we going?
You'll see.
There's a sly smile on the wolf's face as we trudge along the path, walking in comfortable silence. Eventually, we break through the trees and into the small, quaint street that I've been on before. And sure enough, it's completely empty, aside from 1 or 2 figures moving up the sidewalk or standing at a doorway. I notice then that Amicus is becoming more excited, and it shows in his widening strides, and I have to hurry to keep up. The wolf pauses, waiting for me to catch up, then places his paw against the small of my back, and I'm suddenly thrust forward at his speed, forced along in a stumbling gait.
Come on, it's right here.
The wolf sweeps me under a dark archway. There's a door in front of us, the soft glow of light barely showing through the frosted glass framing the door. It looks like it's closed, and I look up at Amicus in question, but the wolf doesn't seem bothered and simply knocks on the door. We wait a few moments, then Amicus leans in toward the crack, talking loudly through it.
Hello? Gaius?
Something beyond the door blots out the light, and Amicus steps back before suddenly drawing me to his side, as if preparing to introduce me to someone. I stand there awkwardly, trying to prepare myself for whatever this is. When the door opens, it's not what I expect at all. An old she-wolf in an apron with a cloth tied over the top of her head peers around the door, cracked open just enough so that her muzzle can fit through. I feel Amicus shift next to me, and he forces his smile even bigger.
Hello!
The old woman squints.
Hello?
Amicus is quiet for a moment, clearly taken aback by the other wolf's lack of reaction. He clears his throat.
I am Amicus, your emperor, and this is Marco, my companion.
That's a new title. I look up at the wolf in question, but he goes on staring at the she-wolf, who only continues to stare back at him.
Maybe you are familiar.
No, I don't think so.
Amicus stares, his mouth gaping open while the woman starts to close the door. Quickly, Amicus lets go of me to reach out, stopping the door from closing just by an inch.
Excuse me, please. But could you summon Gaius? He will know who I am.
The old wolf sticks her muzzle back through the crack, glaring now.
Gaius was relieved of his shift 3 hours ago. You know it's the 2nd hour?
I had suspected, though I had hoped he would have waited for me.
You thought wrong, dear.
Amicus bristles.
Excuse me. But you realize you are speaking to your emperor, woman?
Now I bristle. Even though I don't know what's going on exactly, I do feel a surge of disappointment at seeing my lover use the "Do you know who I am?" line. Amicus! I try to say it under my breath so the other wolf doesn't hear.
What? I'm just trying.
The door starts to close again, and Amicus quickly reaches out, but this time the old woman is ready. She reaches out to smack his paw, hard, making Amicus gasp in surprise before the door slams shut.
How dare!
Amicus looks at a loss for a moment, as if he's never experienced something like this before and doesn't know what to do. Then he tries to open the door, but it's locked. He then resorts to pounding on the door with a heavy fist, lips drawn back to show his teeth.
Open the damn door! I was promised a special banquet in a human's honor! Do you hear me, woman?
I reach out, pushing a hand against Amicus's chest. Holy shit, Amicus! Stop! I hiss at him under my breath, looking around, not having expected to be embarrassed at Amicus's behavior.
What?
Do you hear yourself?
What do you mean? I paid for their services and had everything planned.
We're 5 hours late.
But I'm the emperor, and you are my guest, and that woman.
I step closer, cutting Amicus off even as I lower my voice, surprised at the sudden surge of anger I'm feeling. Amicus, you're acting like a spoiled brat right now, just like Cassius. And stop calling her woman. Amicus's indignant demeanor seems to deflate a little bit at that.
I'm not acting like him at all. And what else should I call her? She is a woman.
It's the way you're saying it. And I don't know, maybe ma'am could be a good start.
Well, she's certainly not acting like a madam.
Is this how you act when you don't get your way? Amicus has always had an entitled streak. I mean, it's kind of what got me into this situation in the first place. But I'd thought he'd have changed a bit after everything we'd been through. Especially over something as small as this. Amicus must see the disappointment in my face, because he deflates further, blowing out a big breath that ruffles back my hair and smells vaguely of lavender.
No, I don't. I promise. It's just that I had something very special planned and...
Amicus looks back at the door, trying to see through the frosted glass, as if whoever he's looking for will magically appear. Amicus, you can't expect anyone to wait 5 hours for you, whether you're emperor or not. Except me, of course.
Yeah.
I see the moment Amicus gives up on his grand plan, whatever it was, and his deflation completes in a slouch, and suddenly he looks very, very tired. You okay?
Yes, I'm fine. Let's just head back to the palace.
Maybe we could go someplace else. I wouldn't mind finding a hole in the wall that's open late. But Amicus is already walking back up the road toward the forest, shaking his head.
I would rather we reserve the location ahead of time so that I can ensure your safety. It's too late for that tonight.
I follow Amicus at a slight distance, feeling generally disappointed and baffled over what had just happened. While I'm still feeling somewhat stunned by Amicus's behavior, I also feel bad because it's clear that he really wanted to make tonight special. And to see him so defeated... I catch up to him and walk alongside the wolf just as we pass under the forest canopy, our path lit by the firefly-like insects floating around us. Well, we could do something at the palace. Maybe have a picnic? Amicus heaves a heavy sigh.
Honestly, Marco, I'm a bit tired. And it's not even Lover's Day anymore anyway.
The wolf says that last bit so quietly that I barely catch it. And just like that, my attempts to keep my own mood light give in, and I sour instantly. Well, if your goal is to ruin the rest of the night, you're doing a damn good job of it. I stare at the ground, frowning, even though I feel Amicus's eyes on me. Then it takes me a few moments to realize that he's stopped walking. I stop too, then turn around to look back at him. We regard each other for a moment, then Amicus takes a deep breath.
I realize that I'm acting like a spoiled pup, and I apologize. I do not want this to ruin the rest of the night, even though there's not much left of it. I promise you, I do not often act in such a way in front of my subjects. I just so desperately wanted for something to go right after everything that happened.
Not often. I raise an eyebrow, but smirk at the same time, wanting to show Amicus that I'm willing to lighten up as well.
I mean, never really. I've never used such words to get my way during all of my emperorship. And it was only because it was for you.
I sigh. Well, please don't ever feel the need to act that way on my behalf again. Especially when you're yelling at an old lady and calling her woman.
I still don't see the problem with that. She is a woman.
Amicus starts walking again, and I walk alongside him. And like I said, it's the way you were saying it, like it was an insult somehow.
I did not mean it that way.
I mean, I kind of feel like you did. But I get it, you were raised in this society of... Amicus huffs out a sigh.
Yes, I know. But I've been doing a lot to progress the rights of women in this society. Just yesterday, I put into motion legislation that will allow females to request a divorce before a court.
And they couldn't before?
Well, no. The husband had to.
Wow.
Gods! Are you humans going to be like the Camians? Shocked and disgusted by every aspect of our society?
I shrug. I mean, some definitely will be.
Do you not have your own problems?
I laugh. Oh yeah, we do. We definitely do. I'm sure you'll be beyond shocked by some of the things we've done to ourselves.
Like?
I close my eyes, shaking my head. I'll let the diplomats reveal that to you. But yeah, most places on Earth still have problems when it comes to equality. A lot of problems.
Then why do you judge me so harshly?
Because I know you can do better. And I know you have the power to create immediate change.
Technically, but realistically.
I know, it's a slow process. But you know where you found me, Italy? It's doing all right with equality. Actually, a lot of Europe is doing great. So I know Adastra can be better. Things go quiet for a moment, that tangent feeling a little strange, like there's more to it than just gender equality. Amicus senses it too, of course.
While I know that the parents, through whatever space wizardry they possess, brought us together due to perfect compatibility, sometimes I wonder about their measurements, because in some instances, we do feel worlds apart.
I look at Amicus, his statement making me feel a little sad. Well, I guess we really are.
But I love it. I love that about you. You open my eyes, you surprise me, and I've accepted the fact that you come from a better functioning society. I'm willing to learn.
I look down, feeling a little embarrassed. Well, humans have a lot to learn too. We're kind of a disaster too.
Then let us learn together. But back to what I was saying previously. Marco, we're running out of time, and I need to do something with you. I feel like I missed that tonight.
I feel my chest twinge a bit at that. We still have time.
I suppose.
It's quiet again, and though things aren't fully relaxed yet, most of the tension between us is gone. After a few more minutes of walking, simply enjoying the cool night air, I clear my throat. So, what was that whole restaurant thing about? Amicus chuckles, kicking a rock with his big footpaw, sending it tumbling up the path to clack loudly against the roots of a tree.
I had, decided to get a head start on human integration into the Galaxius, even though the citizens won't know it.
How so?
Well, a cultural staple for all species is oftentimes their food.
Yeah? I have an idea of where this is going, but I don't know how it's possible.
So, I've established a human cuisine restaurant.
Oh, really?
Yes.
But, how?
Com analyzed and stored a fragment of the data from your Nexus back on Earth. Though not all ingredients are the same, we substituted as best we could and developed food that is, in my opinion, rather authentic.
Huh. You know there's a lot of food from different cultures on Earth. So a lot of different types of food.
Oh, I kept it all in Italy. At least for now. In fact, our first item was Neapolitan pizza.
Amicus's suddenly heavily accented voice startles me a bit, as it always does, the wolf chewing around the words like he's actually eating them. Wow.
So, as you would expect, I wanted you to try all of the items to let us know how we did.
Amicus is talking about all of this like the restaurant was his own project, something he's been working on for a long time.
I thought it would be a fun distraction for you, but as you know, things did not go as planned.
It would have been fun, and I am disappointed that we didn't get to do it together, but the thought alone of what Amicus had planned for me is enough to warm my chest, and I lean against him. Well, thank you anyway. And I mean it. Amicus huffs and slides his arm around my side, rubbing my shoulder vigorously.
Well, we'll do it sometime soon. Can't open it without you giving your approval first.
Oh, I didn't know it would all depend on me.
Of course. The restaurant is named in your honor, after all.
Oh God, really?
Really?
I feel myself blushing at the thought of my name on a restaurant. It's embarrassing for some reason, but also incredibly sweet.
And I think we should have that picnic. Nothing like a third-hour dinner in the moonlight.
You sure? You look pretty tired.
I'll live.
Amicus lets me go after a moment, and as he does, I slide my hand down against his paw, taking hold of it. We don't hold hands often, mainly because it's something the wolves just don't really do. But nothing about it feels strange or out of place as we walk down the path, hand in paw, with only the glow of the moon and the firebugs to guide us. But there is an eerie edge to it all, and while I might have been a little nervous if I were alone, I don't feel any of that with Amicus. It does make me think back, though, of what happened in the university. Amicus? What do you know about the other?
Why do you ask about that?
I shrug. I don't know. I've had it explained to me a few times, but I still don't really understand it.
You don't need to worry about it.
I look up at Amicus, glaring.
I'm not saying that to exclude you. It is honestly something you do not need to fret over. It's thousands of years away, something you will never see.
I look back down at the ground, frowning.
Are you all right?
I don't know. Doesn't it already sort of have a presence around us?
How much has that jackal been telling you? I swear.
Hey, he's the only one that's been telling me anything about it. What else do I have to go on?
Listen, Marco. All that is known for certain is that it exists and that it is a threat. The rest are stories and pseudoscience.
Amicus, when I was in the university, I heard voices telling me what might happen to us.
What?
I take a deep breath, deciding that I trust Amicus enough to tell him this, no matter how crazy it is. When I finish, Amicus is quiet for a moment. So, am I just crazy?
No, and I don't doubt you at all. Would you be offended if I offered the idea that it could very well have been a dream?
No, it probably was. It just worried me.
As it should have. It sounds frightening.
Amicus pulls me against his side again.
But I'm very happy you told me, and I hope you'll tell me if you experience anything else. After what we've been through, I think we should be open to all possibilities.
Yeah. Just being able to talk to Amicus about this has made me feel better. That Amicus is taking this seriously, even though it very likely was a dream.
But, in the very, very unlikely event that it was the other, then the stories would indicate that it doesn't think on its own, and simply works with what it has in your mind. It projects your own worries into your reality, but even then it can't hurt you in such a weak state. And that's assuming that its remnants really do exist in the first place.
Well, I'm glad the palace isn't haunted.
Well, having lived there all my life, I can guarantee you that is the case. I've never seen anything unexplainable there. This forest, on the other hand...
What?
Well, some say a creature called the Simiobor lives within the forest surrounding the city.
Oh yeah? Amicus sees my smile.
Oh yes, it's actually thought to be a primate of some sort, and climbs and jumps from tree to tree. It's completely black, and its face is on the opposite side of its head, so that its red glowing eyes can stare at you while it clings to the branches.
I can tell that Amicus is trying to scare me, and even though I feel a little creeped out, his own presence makes it almost impossible to feel scared. Yeah? And you've seen it?
I've heard strange noises and maybe movement in the trees while out hunting before.
Yeah, all right. Amicus smirks at me as we continue walking, and even though I know he's teasing me, I still feel that prickle of paranoia on the back of my neck. So I distract myself by telling Amicus about our own primate cryptids back on Earth. Despite the bad start to our Lover's Day, I find myself happy, just being able to have this strange conversation with my wolf. Com sends our food, mostly leftovers from the dinner that we'd missed, out to us in a floating basket as Amicus prepares the sightseer. We board, and soon enough we're headed out toward the island, the same one that I haven't been to since I followed Alex there with Neferu. Being so late at night, or rather early in the morning, is refreshing compared to the humid mornings and afternoons. Amicus is clearly enjoying it, his elbows on the railing of our craft, leaning back, head tilted up toward the sky, a slight smile creasing his lips. His fur whips around gently on his face and torso, and that single fang that always pokes out under his lip glints softly under the light of the celestial bodies above us. He looks so peaceful, something he deserves more than anything. So I savor the moment, trying to capture this image perfectly in my mind, knowing that not so long from now, I'll want to look back on this when I'm out on my own. I bite my lip and blink back the small thread of tears just in time before Amicus's eyes open again.
Despite everything seemingly getting in our way, we will have to travel for a few weeks together before you might leave.
Oh? For what?
For you to tour the moon. And also for us to pick up Cassius from the final city and his destination. It will give you an opportunity to see most of Adastra so that you better understand the moon.
Amicus winks.
And it has been decreed by the parents, so there's no getting out of it.
Don't I know it? I feel both happiness at the idea of having some guaranteed time with Amicus, while also feeling that pang of resentment at the thought of the parents making it happen. Our craft pushes up onto the beach, and Amicus hops out before reaching out a paw to help me down onto the sand, even though he doesn't have to. I bring the blanket while Amicus carries the basket, and we set things out in roughly the same spot that we did all those months ago in my first weeks here. Only months. It feels like years. As we set out the food, I do kind of wish we had Neapolitan pizza, as I see the usual bread, cheese, olives, and poultry, along with various vegetables I've never been able to identify. Still, it's good enough, and I'm just happy to lounge next to Amicus while we eat. Again, it's in that comfortable silence that I always enjoy with my wolf. Silence that doesn't have to be filled with anything, except the sounds of chewing, which mostly comes from Amicus. After a while, though, he breaks the silence with something that almost makes me choke on my verde.
So, how do humans get married? You present a ring, correct?
I cough loudly for a second, while Amicus stares.
What do you mean by that?
I stare at Amicus, then look around, trying to spot something that might tell me what the wolf is up to.
I'm just curious.
That's what you said when you asked about dating.
Oh, yes. Are you suspecting that I might ask for your paw in marriage?
Even though Amicus is grinning teasingly, I can tell that he's blushing even under the moonlight. You didn't think asking something like that would make me suspicious?
Well, I don't know. It's an interesting topic that has never been brought up. Two males cannot be married anyway, let alone ones from different species.
I feel myself calm down a little, not sure how I would have reacted if Amicus had just whipped out a ring then and there. But Amicus is still looking at me, expecting an answer. I swallow, then think. I guess you just propose to the person you want to marry. Then you go to the courthouse and sign some papers and it's official. I think. I don't know, I've never been married.
And in some places, males can marry other males, right?
I narrow my eyes. How would you know that?
Again, I've spent some time with your Nexus. It's only fair I do, considering you've been spending so much of your own time learning about Adastra.
I'm starting to see why Amicus might have been so busy these past months, starting up his own restaurant and learning human culture. Well, you're right. There are a lot of places on Earth where you can marry the same sex. Amicus looks off into the lake.
That does sound rather nice. What about Italy?
I glance at Amicus, noting the interest he's been taking in the country he abducted me from. I suppose it's a place for him to look for inspiration, a vision of what Adastra could be, which makes sense. It's the location of the uplift, of course, but it also has a turbulent history and politics that have always been raucous and unpredictable. But considering where the country started and where it is now, Amicus wouldn't be wrong to find inspiration there. Again, Amicus is waiting for his answer, and I have to think back to what little research I did about the topic. Sort of. I think civil unions are a thing, which is pretty close to marriage, but not really. I think if you marry someone from an EU country, you can... I realize how Amicus might have no idea what I'm talking about, even though he seems to be listening intently. Anyway, yeah, sort of. Civil unions. Mostly marriage, but not really marriage. I think it'll happen there soon, though.
Sounds complicated.
Yeah, it gets complicated. Amicus is still looking out at the lake.
You want to swim?
I blink. No, the water will be freezing.
So?
So, I don't want to die of hypothermia? Amicus guffaws.
You really are a pup. It's not that cold.
I roll my eyes, feeling a little whiplash from the sudden change in conversation. Then I yelp in surprise as I feel myself swooped up from the ground, easily held up in Amicus's strong paws. Hey!
I'll show you.
What? I struggle in the wolf's grasp, very much not in the mood to be dunked in freezing cold water. Amicus's strength can't be matched by me, though, and the waves get louder as the wolf walks closer to the water's edge. Amicus, my robe! Realizing that a dip in the lake is inevitable, I start to try and struggle out of my garments. But at that moment, I'm suddenly set back down on my feet. Dazed, I stumble. We're right at the water's edge, where the waves are crawling up the sand just a few inches from my feet. The lake stretches out to my right, dark and expansive, the blackness broken by the shimmers of silver light reflecting off the rippling water. It takes me a while to finally focus back on Amicus. That's because he's kneeling on the beach, reaching up toward me with both paws, and I see what is definitely a ring held between the pads of his fingers. I stare. Amicus clears his throat, his bravado from just a minute ago having quickly faded, replaced by a look he'd once worn when he offered me a bouquet of flowers in the gardens.
Will you be my husband?
I continue to stare. Amicus stares back, clearly trying to keep a confident look on his face. But after a few more seconds, it fails.
I know what I'm doing this time. I was sure to research it. I know what this means.
He stubbornly holds up the ring. Now I get a good look at it, and I'm not sure if it's just reflecting the sky, but the ring appears to be a dark, dark blue with tiny speckles of sparkling stones dotting the rim, just like the stars above. There's also a thin strip of silver that wraps all the way around the band, straight down the middle. But you said males couldn't marry each other. I mumble that out stupidly, not sure why it's the first thing that comes to mind. Amicus ducks his head slightly.
No, but I am Emperor. And I know that might sound bad after what happened earlier, but I want this, so I will have it.
Amicus looks back up at me with a determined expression.
That is, if you will have it as well.
I'm frozen, and that determined expression melts away once again as Amicus looks like he's about to panic.
8 years, Marco. That is too long. We need something to bind us together, to always remember, to have something when we reunite.
A few more moments of silence. I see Amicus's paw faltering, starting to pull back, and that's what finally gets my stupid brain to force me to move, reaching down to gently touch the ring. Yes, of course. Amicus's ears perk up.
Yes?
I will marry you, of course. I laugh through the last words, not even sure what I'm doing right now.
Yes!
Amicus hops to his feet, fist in the air, as if he's just won some kind of sports competition. But before I can say anything else, he's crushing the air from my lungs with the force of the hug he pulls me into, pressing his muzzle against my lips. Then, when he pulls back, he adds another kiss, this one a canine-style lick up the side of my face. I flinch back, surprised by the gesture. It's a juvenile show of affection, something a pup would do, and something Amicus has never done to me before. He looks happier than I've seen him in months. He pulls me against his body again, more gently this time, looking into my eyes.
Marco, I'm going to be the best husband there ever was. I love you.
The wolf takes my hand in his much bigger paw, drawing it up between us so that he can slide the ring on. Amicus chuckles, and it's clear that it's much, much too big, at least twice the width of my finger.
I'll have to have it fitted, of course. I simply wanted it to be a complete surprise.
It worked. Though I know that marriages on Adastra are more pragmatic, it seems that Amicus has, for the most part, educated himself on the more emotional, romantic meaning it holds on Earth.
I was worried when you didn't assume the usual position I examined in the images Com showed me of a human proposal.
Position?
The male is on one knee, and the female does this.
Amicus assumes a look of surprise, both paws up to his muzzle. I'm laughing as I hold up the ring to the moonlight, examining the tiny speckles of sparkling stone embedded in the dark blue metal.
I also thought a stretch ring would be most appropriate.
Stretch ring? Amicus reaches out, taking the ring from my fingers to hold it up between us.
It symbolizes space and the stars, of course. But this...
Amicus points a blunt claw to the thin strip of silver running around the middle of the band.
This symbolizes connection between those who are long distances apart.
Yeah?
Yes. Some believe that the shape of our universe is spherical, and that it sort of folds in upon itself.
Amicus sees my furrowed brows.
Think of it like this. If I walk in that direction...
Amicus points out across the lake.
In a straight line for many months. Eventually, I will end up right back here next to you. So there is a belief that the universe could hold a similar shape, a sphere that is expanding. And this ring...
Amicus spins the ring around, showing me the silver circle.
Reminds us that, even if we are moving apart on the stretch drive, we are still moving toward each other in a straight line, which is the fastest way to get somewhere. A touch convoluted, I know, and a somewhat unlikely theory, but it can be a comforting thought. I like to think of it more as being connected by fate. Yes, we will be far apart, but there is an invisible thread connecting us that cannot be broken, and will soon draw us back together.
I cut the wolf off as I hug him, pressing my face into his chest. The bittersweet sadness I'd been feeling for many months, coming to the surface all at once. Amicus holds me quietly as we stand there on the beach in silence. I'm happy and sad all at once, and I just want to stay here forever. We eventually make our way back to our room, the sky beginning to lighten with the approaching dawn. Along the way, Amicus starts to get handsy, and by the time we're at the door, the wolf practically pushes me inside, attacking my neck with licks. I cringe and laugh at the ticklishness of it, trying to escape until Amicus has me pinned to the wall next to the door.
Going somewhere?
The wolf starts to take off my robe, and at the same time, I start to remove his garments. Yes, and you're coming with me.
Oh, well, lead the way then.
I grab his semi-hard length, which causes it to immediately twitch to full mast. Amicus seems to grow frustrated with undoing my underwear, and resorts to just yanking it down from my body, leaving me naked as well. The wolf then sweeps me off my feet and takes me to the bed. All the while, we both continue to kiss each other. It's much more passionate, almost animalistic compared to our kiss on the beach, Amicus growling into it while my tongue pushes past his lips, feeling his big long teeth and wide flat tongue. He lays me on the bed, and we kiss for a while longer, Amicus's paws moving up and down my sides while I feel up his back, his cock laying heavy on top of mine, twitching each time I make a moaning sound. Finally, the wolf pulls back, his tongue hanging out for a moment before he clears his throat, suddenly looking nervous. You all right?
Yes. But there was something else I wanted to do for Lover's Day.
Yeah? I look around, wondering what else could be done aside from what we're doing right now.
I would like to attempt some type of, what would you call it? Penetration?
My heart skips a beat. We'd been intimate many times in the past few months, and Amicus had inquired a few times about entering me, but I'd always been hesitant because of our size difference. Eventually, the wolf just stopped asking.
I know that you are wary of my size, but if you'd like to try, I've made sure to get the proper lubrication, the best quality on the moon.
Amicus walks over to the dresser and opens a drawer before pulling out a jar. He has it open by the time he returns.
But I decided it would only be fair if I offered a choice instead.
A choice?
Yes. I want to be even closer with you, Marco. But if it's not possible for you to take me in, then I'll take you.
My eyebrows shoot up, and Amicus rolls his eyes.
Well, don't look so surprised.
Weren't you the one that told me that emperors shouldn't have anything near their butts or something?
And they shouldn't.
Amicus blushes furiously.
But if you're to be my future husband, and we keep it from the public.
Of course.
And I would still like to try to enter you, as I feel that suits me better. But I'm going to leave the choice up to you for Lover's Day. So, which position would you like to take?
I look between the wolf's legs, and though I'm nervous, I know that Amicus will do his best to keep me comfortable. Amicus follows my eyes and looks down at his crotch, then back up at me, frowning.
Ah, yes. So I suppose you'll like to...
Bottom.
Eh?
I'll try being on bottom. Let's just be careful.
Oh, well, of course. I plan to take it very slowly.
I see the wolf's dick twitch as he quickly hardens up to half-mast at just the thought of penetrating me, making me feel a little nervous. My heart starts to hammer in my chest as I move to stand by the bed, watching as Amicus grabs up his length to slather the lubricant over his ebony cock. It hardens even further in response to that, and that's when he turns to me, his ever-growing length gently swinging between his legs. I swallow hard, moving to sit on the bed while trying not to look nervous. Of course, Amicus picks up on that right away, and he gently sets a paw on my shoulder.
Hey, we don't need to do this at all. I simply thought that you might like to try it after all this time.
Amicus looks down between his legs.
Would you rather do what we usually do? I hear the flavor of the lubricant is rather pleasant.
Amicus starts to raise his lubricated fingers to his mouth, about to lick before I grab his wrist gently. No, I'm just not sure what to expect. I want to do this, to get used to it so we can do it more often. Amicus smiles at me, then hugs me tightly, pressing our naked bodies against each other. I shiver slightly at the way his fur tickles my skin, the way I can feel his muscles and bulk through the flattened fur, the way he rests his square jaw on the top of my head. The combination of power and soft gets to me like it always does, and my own cock twitches to life.
Well, expect me to be very gentle. And if anything becomes too much for you, simply say so, and we'll stop. Then continue something more familiar instead.
Well, it's Lover's Day, so I want to make it special.
Tonight is already special, Marco. Don't worry about that. I only want to be with you right now.
Amicus tilts my chin up and kisses me, a paw sliding down to cup my rear. He gives it a gentle squeeze before wrapping a paw around my legs, leaning me back so that he can lay me on the bed without breaking the kiss. I hold on to him, sliding my hands around his broad back before more timidly sliding them down, then grabbing and squeezing his ass. Normally, this would make him yelp or scramble away indignantly, but this time he just gasps against my mouth in surprise, then laughs while dragging his muzzle down my torso. He licks and kisses my chest, teasing my nipples with his tongue and even gently nipping with his teeth before licking his way down my stomach. By the time he's reached my groin, I'm hard and leaking, and judging by the grin on his face, that's just what he wanted. And looking down between us, I can see that I'm definitely not the only one. Amicus, being as hard as I've ever seen him, is leaking pre onto my lower stomach as he grins at me.
It seems that you've become aroused, young ape. Is there something that you find tantalizing about a wolf like me?
It's hard to answer, as I'm a bit distracted by the way our dicks are pressing up against each other. Amicus's hot flesh gliding smoothly against mine each time he moves. I think it's the other way around, young pup. Amicus grins at me as he smears his pre across my stomach, the gesture having a rather territorial feel to it. It is a wolven thing, but it gets me even more excited. And when Amicus finally gets more lube, he gently spreads me, then begins to coat my hole with the slick substance. It's a little cold, but it warms up to my body temperature pretty quickly, and I gasp as Amicus completely coats me.
I'm going to reach inside a bit to help loosen you, if that's all right.
I swallow, but nod quickly. The intimacy of having my lover touch me in such a private place makes my cock jump on my stomach. It does it again as Amicus pushes in a little bit, and I lean my head back, just experiencing the feel of his pads gently circling my entrance. It is a little embarrassing, but I'm getting really hard, and when Amicus leans forward to lick my length, I gasp and push him away with a hand on his forehead. Whoa, I'm close.
Already?
You're not taking it very easy.
Well, I feel we should move forward if that's the case. Very slowly.
Amicus waits, and when I keep my legs open, my hips tilted up to receive him, Amicus does move forward. The process is slow, and I tell him to stop sooner than I'd wanted to, but when he pauses, I get used to the feeling pretty quickly, and then he moves forward again. The feeling of exposing myself like this, allowing Amicus access, it's making me leak like never before. Amicus seems to like that, because he responds with a growl, leaning in to kiss my neck. We wind up taking a break 3 more times, each time allowing me to get used to the feeling before he's finally most of the way in. I'm once again considering our size difference. And even though I know Amicus might prefer it the other way around, I just don't think I'm quite ready yet. Can I be top, if that's okay? I see a look of apprehension on Amicus's face for just a moment before he smiles.
Of course.
We don't have to.
I very much want to. Now.
Amicus suddenly turns around.
Apply the lubrication.
You want me to do it?
Yes.
All right. I quickly dip my fingers into the jar, the cool jelly-like substance a bit more runny than I'd expected. I approach my wolf, and I see his ears twitching around, listening.
Don't be afraid to apply liberally.
Yeah. I reach out with my free hand and cup the canine's rear, the wolf tensing only a little as I feel the thick roundness of it. I spread him slightly and press my dollop of lube into the wolf, forcing a loud gasp out of him.
Gods, that's cold!
Won't be for long. I gently massage it in before actually entering him with a finger. Amicus arches against that, tail lifting just slightly. The wolf lets out a deep, huffing breath as I pull back and pick up the jar again, this time pouring a good amount onto my hand, which I cover my own shaft with. Amicus is already laying on the bed, fully hard, waiting for me. I stand between the wolf's legs, Amicus gently spreading them for me, while I partially lean up against him and the bed. So I guess. Amicus doesn't look nervous anymore, instead smiling up at me. So, you ready?
I think so, yes. Are you?
I laugh. Yeah, I think so. Amicus lies there, spread before me, and I kind of just stare. That's when the wolf shifts, starting to look a little uncomfortable.
Well, all right. Go ahead.
I'm as careful as I can be, going slow at first, sliding in and waiting as Amicus grits his teeth and adjusts, trying to relax. The process is slow, and I wonder if Amicus has ever taken anyone before. Probably not. Eventually, with the help of a little more lube, some of which Amicus pours onto his own paw to jerk himself off, I finally enter fully. Amicus's warmth surrounds me, and suddenly I realize what the wolf meant by wanting to be closer. Being inside him like this, surrounding me, it's such an intimate feeling. I lean forward, and immediately Amicus reaches up to grasp my shoulders, kissing me while his thick muscular legs wrap around my waist, suddenly pulling me in deeper. I'm not sure if Amicus intended for that to happen, but he responds with a deep moan into my kiss, the vibrations rumbling through both our bodies. I thrust in that position, each time forcing a grunt out of Amicus's muzzle, all while he furiously works himself between the two of us. The way the wolf is clenching and unclenching around me, his muscles going into overdrive, it gets me close, very, very fast. It's almost embarrassing, actually, and I pull back from the kissing, standing straight over Amicus while the wolf continues to work himself with his paw. He smiles at me.
Keep going.
He gasps as I start thrusting again, and I suddenly lean forward as I feel myself release, faster than expected, Amicus tightening around me just as I do. This is clearly what the wolf was waiting for, and he gives himself a few more firm strokes before doing the same, coming so hard that some of it shoots up against my chin. The rest ends up between us as I lean forward to kiss him again, the two of us jerking and groaning together as he wraps his legs around me once more. It seems to go on forever, and Amicus is still groaning when I'm finished, his warm length twitching gently between us before eventually going still. The mess we've made is kind of incredible, but we lay there for a moment, my head against Amicus's chest while I grow soft inside of him, the wolf stroking my hair.
Happy Lover's Day, Marco.
Happy Lover's Day.
I promise I won't ruin the next one, even if that might be 8 years away.
Well, that's a long time to prepare then. Amicus laughs, but cuts himself off as he leans in to kiss me again. Welcome to the after reading. Believe it or not, I don't really have much to say about this part of the visual novel that I haven't already said in other after readings. And I feel like that's okay after my last bloated yet still undercooked offering at the end of the last video. So I'm just gonna wrap this thing up by thanking my patrons, Charlie Miller and Lying Sora, both for making sure I didn't run out of beer, and 21C Raccoon for making sure that I also didn't run out of coffee. Thanks again, everybody. As for the rest of you, if you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a like, share it with fellow degenerates, and leave a comment for the almighty YouTube algorithm. Until next time, thanks for watching.